treasure of fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. And the warrior's blood through your veins is coursing.
He goes outside. He's got Ledford with him. Chris Blassie is going to win it at the line here in Daytona.
Every move, take your shot, don't be a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Breathe to take your aim. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Breathe to take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't make the fool. All you got and all you ever need.
He's going to drive up into him. Can Koontz hang on to it off the corner? Koontz gets it.
It's one bullet in the chamber. Breathe to take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you
Drivers
gonna
side by side coming out of turn 4. Rapp with the 52 on the outside, the 99 to the inside. Rapp's going to win it at Auto Club.
do? So what you gonna do?
If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the booth tonight. We're bringing you live racing action in the NASCAR trucks from north of the border at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the Sim Racing Concepts Grand Prix. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, aka Mosport, is one of the world's classic road racing circuits. Designed and built in the late 1950s on the rolling, wooded sandhill country about 50 miles east of Toronto, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park's 10-turn, 2.5-mile track is widely regarded as one of the most daunting road courses on the planet, owing to an abundance of ultra-fast, blind corners, many of which feature dramatic elevation changes. However, the track's signature turn is Moss Corner, a double apex hairpin named in honor of Sterling Moss, who redesigned the corner after seeing its originally planned configuration and not liking it. Together with Quebec's Circuit Mont-Tremblant, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park hosted the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix on alternate years and later served as the event's permanent home from 1972 until the race moved to Montreal's Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in 1978. Chris, fun fact, the Strawberry Fields Festival was held here just a couple of years after the Summer of Love in the 60s, so concert goers were treated to a weekend's worth of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Hopefully tonight we don't have any of the first two, but there's sure to be a lot of music made on the track. What are drivers going to have to do in order to play every chord correctly and put together a hit tonight on the racetrack?
Well, I just need a second to recover. I wasn't expecting to hear some of those words tonight on the Slingshot Racing channel here, but no, it's going to be a tough night for a lot of these drivers here. We got 45 laps around Mosport, and what I've seen so far in practice, and we're actually going to ride on board with one of these drivers when we come back after the national anthem, is a lot of loose trucks. It's very, very loose. A couple of trouble spots out here that we're going to have our eyes on all night tonight. We got 45 laps around Mosport, so this race will get over with pretty quickly. 28 trucks here tonight. We expect to see probably one stop, and we'll probably see everybody sort of split this race in half. So should be very interesting, very different than what you typically see here on Tuesday nights in the Slingshot Racing League.
It is going to be definitely different. Our first right-hand turns of the season coming up right around the corner. No pun intended, but speaking of what's up next, a Slingshot Racing fan favorite. Everybody go ahead and rise and remove your caps if able for the playing of the Star Spangled Banner. We'll be back on the other end. All right, back here 50 miles outside of Toronto here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Truck Series. We're just a few minutes away from the start of our first road course race of 2 this season, and we're getting ready for a lot of action. Chris, last week Miami was a lot of action, maybe a little bit more action than we would have probably liked, but we've got some stories to talk about leading into tonight's race for fans to follow. Before we do that, however, I do want to mention the Fast 5 competition right now. You've got until lap 5 tonight to potentially go out there and win $30. If you can guess the top 5, and you go ahead and post that as a comment on the Fast 5 social media post from yesterday, either on our Instagram or Facebook pages, both are linked in the video description, by the way, and you get it right, you could win $30, depending on if you're the only one or if a couple others get it right. Each week we don't have a winner. We increased the pot by $5. This week, it's up to $30, and it could keep going. So go ahead, try to get those guesses in on our Facebook and Instagram. If you can get it in order, you could win $30 tonight. Chris, big stories to follow. First 2 having to do with points based on the events that took place in Miami last week. Josh Ward, after a thrilling victory at Talladega, came into Miami looking to capitalize on that energy, but he ended up getting involved in a late race crash, and as a result, the points flip-flop once again. Let's go ahead and take a look at these points battle right now. Randy Bechdel taking over the points lead from Josh Ward, who slipped back just a little bit, even behind Scotty Sobczak, but you can see just how close it is. Really 16 points, Chris, separating the top 4. This is one of the closest title fights we've seen, really, in our slingshot racing history over the past 2 years. I think that this is going to intensify even more, considering we've got playoffs to worry about in just about 5 races from now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you brought up Jacob Bradley. He is currently tied for 7th now, so he got himself out of that, danger zone area. It's still really close in points right here, and I still maintain that we're probably going to have like a really, really quality slingshot driver not make it into the top 12. The field is so stacked this season.
Yeah, you mentioned that top 12. You're looking at it right now. It is a 3-way fight to get into the top 12, which will qualify drivers for the chase. And the way that works is after the first 10 races of the season, we'll reset the points with the points leader being first in points and then descending everyone else 5-point increments behind. So essentially putting everyone back in the hunt for the title if you made it into the top 12. So there is a lot at stake. Potentially a driver could be in 8th place in points when the regular season ends and have a legitimate shot at the championship later on. So that's why that bubble battle is going to be something we continue to look at over the course of the season in these final 5 races. And Chris, it all ends in Daytona. The regular season culmination finale is going to be intense, but we got to get there first. And tonight we're making some right-hand turns as drivers get warmed up for this race tonight, just about 2.5 minutes before the grid starts. Let's talk about the racetrack, because we watched several drivers working their way around in this final warm-up. What are these drivers going to be concerned about? We said race the track. What does that mean for the average fan at home who's never watched one of these road course races before?
Well, on a road course, you think on a typical track, on an oval track, like what we see typically in slingshot, that you race the other competitors. But on a road course, it's really about racing the track. You're like in a competition against the track more so than you are against the other drivers. Just keeping that truck on the track, keeping it steady. And here in just a minute, we're actually going to take a ride on board here with Aaron Smith, who set the fastest time in qualifying, just to show you what Canadian Tire Motorsports Park is all about. It's easy for me to say.
Yeah, we go ahead and do that now if you're ready.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's ride on board with Aaron Smith here. And this is coming to take the green flag right here on his fast lap. And he is working his way down here into turn 1, a right-hander. A little bit of a strange right-hander. You've got rumble strips right down there, but you can sort of cut that a little bit possibly. Coming out right here, this is a turn I'm going to have my eyes on all night. It's a blind downhill left-hander. And I've seen a lot of trucks go off to the right there, overdriving that corner. Coming off right here, going into turn 3. This is Quebec corner. All right, a little bit of an off-camber in a way. A little bit of a tricky corner right there. On the gas right there, stand on it down this little straight right here. This little kink right here, this is turn 4. off the gas a little bit, sort of feathering it. And this might be a passing zone, sort of like a double apex in a way. It's really like 2 sets of corners, 5A and 5B. This is Moss Corner, named after Sterling Moss. This is 5C right here. And now you're on the Mario Andretti straightaway. Turn 6 and turn 7 somewhere here on this straightaway. I'm not really sure where it's at.
Is it a straightaway, though?
Yeah, like they say that's like this is like turn 7 right here. I don't think it's really a turn. But anyway, coming up right here on turn 8, this has got to slow down right here for this right-hander. This is what's considered the S's here at Mosport. A right-hander there. Got a left-hander right here. This is turn 9. Then coming up right here on White's Corner, this is turn 10. And we've seen a lot of action here in the Truck Series races in real life here in the past. And then across the line.
Man, Chris, that was really good. You were telling me that this is not one of your better tracks, but hey, I wouldn't have believed it based on what we just heard. Great description around the track. And a couple of the other stories that we're going to be following, road course ringers. Hey, based on that little lap, I would expect you to be one of those. And you've had a good season going so far in another series we're running on the road courses, but we've got some real road course ringers in here tonight, guys who specialize in road courses, and they're fast on ovals, but they tend to be even faster on the road courses, talking about guys like Patrick Piper, talking about Matt Koontz, Nick Dicesare. You know, a name that we haven't really talked about a lot this season, Chris, Chase Berry. I looked at his stats on the road courses, and he is a solid average finish of 2nd place on road course races he's run for Slingshot Racing out of the past 5. So he's done great work. We'll look to see how those drivers, Chris Pierce, another one that we'll add to the list in that 65 car. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but road course ringers, I think, might have a chance tonight, but Aaron Smith, they're going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to take on that number 70 HTP Hank Thomas Performance yellow Chevy Silverado, who's going to be starting, I believe, on the pole. Absolutely. Let's go ahead. Speaking of that, one last point, no yellows tonight. Driver's going to be looking to pit under green, which is going to add a whole nother dimension of strategy and complexity to the task ahead for those drivers tonight. Let's go ahead and look at the Evan Pienta Designs grid, and the pole award winner tonight, Aaron Smith. No shocker, he ran fast laps in practice. He is going to be on your pole, joined by Scotty Sobczak in the 81 on the outside. Row 2 is going to see Randy Bechdel and Justin Wilson. Row 3, Chris Pierce and Jacob Bradley starting 6th. On the inside of row 4, it's Johnny Rapp and Evan Pienta. Nick Dicesare and Wesley Pistol make up row 5. Josh Ward, Matt Koontz make up row 6, followed by Patrick Piper, and the driver, the number 14, Lee Campbell. Chase Berry, a driver that we're going to be keeping an eye on tonight in the 46, starting 15th. Patrick Colby and that 9 truck starting on the outside of row 8. Sean Johnson and Ryan Hinkle on row 9, followed by Dan Rowe and his teammate Scott Tompkins starting on row 10. Jay Leach and Larry Poling in 21st and 22, respectively. Raymond Hanneman, the lone Canadian driver in the field, going to be having his work cut out for him if he's going to get a top 10 tonight, starting in the 23rd position. James Danforth, 24th. Brandon Waldrip, Tony Caputo on row number 13, followed by Paul Thomas and Patrick O'Toole bringing up the rear tonight. Patrick probably looking to gain some spots and work on that hard charger average. At the end of the season, we award the driver who gains the most average positions per race. Patrick O'Toole really looking for that award tonight. He's got a knack for gaining positions. We'll see how that goes over the course of the evening. Right now, making their way through the Moss Corner. That is turn number 5, working their way down the Mario Andretti back straightaway, Chris. If you're a driver buckling up one of those 28 drivers who are getting ready to sit in the saddle tonight, what are you thinking? 45 laps ahead of you. How do you manage this race?
I just want to survive the first lap. It's going to be really, really tough. This is, especially with a lot of drivers who, admittedly, a lot of them will say they don't do this very often. This is not their favorite thing in the world. This is not something they think that they're very good at. So I just want to survive this first lap, get through the first couple of corners, and then get some separation. And from that point on, it's all about managing. It's just about keeping the truck on the track, limiting all the mistakes that you possibly make, and just be there at the end.
Be there within 45 laps from now. What these drivers are going to be looking to do here at the Sim Racing Concepts Grand Prix for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. Pace car gets ready to pull off. Drivers make their way through turn 10. Flagman shows the green flag. We are underway here at Mosport, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Smith leads them down into turn 1. First two are single file, now three. The battle is for fourth position between Chris Pierce and Justin Wilson. Wilson's going to come out on top of that. Drivers get single file pretty early, headed down here into turn number 2. So far, we are clean and green. A couple drivers starting from pit lane. Everyone taking it easy, but a couple drivers back in the field. Patrick Colby looks like trying to make up some spots early on Scott Tompkins as well as Dan Rowe. Single file really for the first top 10, I believe, as drivers get ready to head down into turn 5. The Moss corner here, this double apex that Chris so eloquently walked us through earlier. Everyone gets through it pretty good right now. Scotty Sobczak in second, not letting Aaron Smith get out quite as far in front as I'd imagined over the first lap. He's got about 8 car lengths or truck lengths as they head down the Mario Andretti straightaway down into turn number 8 here. We mentioned this potentially being a heavy braking zone, these final few corners. See if Scott Sobczak can do any work as we ride on board with the driver of that number 81, Chris.
Yeah, he's doing a really nice job of just, maintaining the pace right here with Aaron Smith. We've seen Aaron Smith and LSU got some stats here tonight that sort of demonstrate this. Aaron Smith has been just a dominant force on road courses in Slingshot. And, if you're Scotty Sobczak, you got to feel really good right here that you're able to maintain the pace with him. I think he was only about 2/10 off of him in qualifying. And, 2/10 sounds like a lot on most of the oval tracks that we go to. But on a road course, you're in the ballpark.
Yeah, definitely in the ballpark right now. We mentioned the stats. Aaron Smith in the past 5 to 6 Slingshot Racing races has averaged a second place finish. So he is the ultimate road course ringer, but we don't really think of him that way because he's so good on the ovals too. If you recall, he won the Pocono race earlier this season, Chris. Oh, watching a car, Jacob Bradley off track. He's going to get back on the exit of turn number 5. This is back in the 8th position. See what happened if there's a little bit of contact or that was just a mistake on Jacob Bradley's part coming out of turn 5 here.
Oh, yeah, so follow on board. Just a little bit sideways, maybe carried a little bit too much speed. He did a nice job not to overcorrect too much right there. Kept it straight. Lost a couple positions, but he's going to live to fight another day.
Speaking of living to fight another day, I thought we were going to have a moment there. We almost did. This is a battle going on back for 11th position between Wesley Pistol and Chase Berry. A lot of action back there right now, Chris, around the 11th or 12th position. It's Berry on the outside of Pistol as they get ready to head down in to turn number 1.
Yeah,
Chase Tennessee Volunteers, orange and white truck, struggling right now.
Yeah, Chase Berry's going to be one to keep an eye. Oh, as Chase puts the right sides off into the grass there, he's going to be one to keep an eye on all night tonight because typically we see Chase up near the front in these Slingshot road course races, but he had a little bit of a rough qualifying run, started in 15th, so he's going to have to drive his way through the field, and it's hard to pass here. It's really, really hard to pass, and so, he's got his work cut out for him tonight.
Yeah, passing is of the utmost importance, but it's the hardest thing to do out here right now. Aaron Smith, Chris, didn't have to pass any cars tonight. He's gained about a 2nd and a 10th on Scotty Sobczak. He's your leader, Sobczak 2nd. Meanwhile, Randy Bechdel sitting back in 3rd in that Planters Peanuts number 51. He's got his Payday Racing teammate of Justin Wilson, just about 8 car lengths behind him, or about 0.4 of a second on the track as they get ready to head into the final complex here of turns 8, 9, and 10, headed on the front straightaway. I've seen that number 58 creeping up on that number 51 just a little bit every lap right now on lap number 3, coming to lap number 4, Chris. Justin Wilson really struggling to have the season that we expected him to, after finishing runner-up in the Apex Energy Series last season, season number 5. Is tonight the night where he might be able to get back on track with a top 3 podium finish or maybe even a win if he can snooker Aaron Smith or maybe make a strategy call late in the race?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised at all to see him up in the top 3. Justin gets around these road courses very, very good as well. He hasn't quite had the season that we expect him to have. I don't think it's because of a lack of speed. I think he's had some bad luck. I know he missed the race at Talladega as well, so that's hurting his position in the points right now. But I fully suspect that he will make a run right here at these playoffs as he is. He really got through the turn 5 complex really well right there. Taking a peek to the right side. Oh, yeah, Randy's going to let him go.
Colby. Sorry. As soon as you were saying that, you mentioned the Turn 5 complex. We see that pass, Justin Wilson making his way up to third place on Randy Bechdel. I was also watching Patrick Colby get off track in that same complex. We've seen a handful of drivers do that tonight, but you mentioned it. Justin Wilson makes the pass on Randy Bechdel for third, Chris. But right now, as soon as we say this, that Aaron Smith was pulling away, I'm looking back at the lead, and through the final half of that lap, Scotty Sobczak gained about 3.5 tenths of a second on Aaron Smith. How much of this do you think has to do with Aaron Smith conserving tires earlier in the race right now? We mentioned tires being something that drivers are probably going to be worried about with only one green flag pit stop tonight, trying to make sure they hang on to those tires as long as possible.
Yeah, I think that he is worried about that. Because I see the truck sliding a good bit, especially in turn 2. I've seen a lot of them sliding through there. We're riding on board right here with Aaron Smith. Looking back at second place, Scotty Sobczak. Yeah, he's probably taking it easy right here. Just sort of riding. Feeling really comfortable with that gap. Obviously, also he's on this. He's teammates with Scotty Sobczak, so he trusts him as well. So he's not worried about him making any type of crazy, bonsai move into, on entry to the corner, trying to dive bomb or anything like that. But yeah, he's probably just taking it really easy and just trying to get to that halfway mark to, think about pitting at that point.
Speaking of top 5 and those drivers working their way towards a pit stop, probably around lap 20 to 30. We say such a big window because the drivers can technically make it 33 laps, we believe, but we suspect that a lot of drivers might try to make it a one-stop race and just split the race. So they'll be coming to pit stops here probably about 20 laps or so from now. Hey, in the chat right now, Patrick Piper chiming in. He says he had to withdraw with hardware issues. His master cylinder failed, or they need to be bled, he says.
Oh, man.
So
he was fast, too, in practice.
Yeah, he had good speed in that number 38 truck, making his comeback after having some surgery earlier on in the season. Glad he's been able to recover in that number 38. But, man, that's some impressive pedals he's got. He's got some of those hydraulic pedals. So Patrick Piper out of the race tonight. We appreciate him chiming in and tuning into the broadcast. We appreciate all the viewers right now in the broadcast as we watch a nice little battle between Nick Dicesare and Jacob Bradley, trying to get his way back into the top 7 after losing a little bit of position on the exit of that Moss Corner turn number 5. Nick Dicesare and that 00 Sunoco HTP truck having a good run. I talked to him in pre-race, Chris, and our buddy Nick said, man, I saw that you called us experts in your social media posts. You need to stop that. We're not experts. And I said, man, you probably got more road laps than most of these guys in this series combined. So really a strong run for Dicesare, Chris, after starting. I'm just looking at the starting position. Starting in the 9th position, he's already made up one of those spots. I know he'll be looking to improve on that later on as the evening progresses. If you're in the chat right now, let us know who you are rooting for. We appreciate everyone tuning in, whether this is one of many that you've watched or this might be your first time tuning into Slingshot Racing. Shout us out in the chat. Let us know you're here. Also, hey, doesn't cost you a dime to hit that thumbs up icon, whether you're on mobile or the computer. And go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Helps us get these drivers out in front of more eyeballs and grow their fan base even more. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Chris, right now, I want to focus in on, first of all, I've been talking a lot, so is there anything you want to focus on right now?
Oh, just coming back to, Jacob Bradley is in some lap traffic right here, with Larry Poling.
Working his way by that 69 truck. Caught him in a bad part of the track, especially for Bradley, right? Yeah,
absolutely, and he is, he's got some good speed right now. I know that he hates that mistake that occurred right there, but we'll actually go ahead and we'll take a look at some of the last lap times right here, just to sort of see where everybody stands. Jacob Bradley was making a pass right there, ran a 1:24.54, so we'll get a sense of it as they come back around right here. Justin Wilson with a really steamy lap right there, only one so far in the 1:23 second bracket. So Evan Pienta had a little bit of trouble that lap. I noticed he lost some ground to Chris Pierce in fifth right there. Yeah, I think Justin Wilson really standing out there as really, really fast lap right there in the 1:23-second bracket.
Yeah, I definitely see that 58 truck notching his way up, trying to do battle with those top two. He had to start back a little bit further back in the field. I believe his starting position was fourth, so he had to make up a spot early on. But right now he's working on getting back into it. See Scotty Sobczak running a little bit wide there in front of him. Hey, you mentioned Chris Pierce in fifth position. Chris Pierce is, we mention every week, he's just gotten better and better. He is a road course, I think I would call him specialist in that number 65 truck.
That's fair.
We've raced with him at Daytona last year. We hoped to race with him at Daytona this year, but that didn't work out due to some hardware issues on my end. Patrick Piper, say amen to that. He knows what I'm talking about. But that 65 truck's got a special paint scheme. Normally we're used to seeing Apex Energy on that number 65, but tonight he's got Mind for better mental health. And I just want to read what Chris posted about this truck. Really important message he's carried with him in this 65 truck this week. He says, we all race for different reasons. Sometimes it can be an outlet and an escape, a place to forget everything else and just drive. Other times it's a place to come together and have a good experience. But for some, sim racing is more than the race itself. He says, mental health is the silent killer, and men in particular are especially afflicted. Many times men are told just to man up or get over it. Don't suffer in silence, Chris says. In a male-dominated space like racing and sim racing, it's important not to forget that help exists if you need it. Chris, I could not agree with that message more. We do live in a world where we're kind of trained to just, believe we got to suck everything up, and sometimes feelings aren't great, but if you bottle that up, it's a recipe for disaster. So Chris, along with everyone here at Slingshot Racing League, encourages you, if you're watching or you know friends who might need help, seek out that help. It is 100% there, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. So right now, Chris Pierce having a good run in that number 65 truck, sitting fifth position. Right behind him, Jacob Bradley, Chris. We saw him make the pass on Evan Pienta. Bradley's worked his way up to sixth. He's running some fast laps, looking to get back in a good position mentally and on the track position game after slipping back a couple of positions after that error in turn 5. Getting ready to complete number 10, or lap number 10 here from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Chris, pretty good race, pretty clean race so far. Really haven't seen a lot of guys have many issues, and I can't say that I'm surprised, but with 28 drivers on the track, this is a pretty big showing for a road course race. Everyone looking pretty good out there right now.
Yeah, you can see right there riding on board with Jacob Bradley. That's that turn 2 that I was talking about, that downhill left-hander, how loose it is. You're just carrying so much speed down that hill, and a little bit loose right there as well. But that corner right there, I'm just super impressed with all of our drivers. Without seeing, as many incidents as we have, I'm going back and looking right here, and I just haven't really noticed that many off tracks so far.
No, I've seen really just 2 or 3 off tracks. We saw Jacob Bradley. We saw Patrick Colby also go off in the same place. I believe I saw Raymond Hanneman, the Canadian driver, in the race. And I have a bit of a moment, but ended up saving it, I believe. He continued on running the 22nd position. Raymond Hanneman in the number 85 and what he might consider a home track. Tony Caputo right behind him in the number 7. Paul Thomas and Larry Poling 24th and 25th respectively. Looks like Patrick O'Toole, Chris, might have gone off the track and is done for the evening. And we heard about Patrick Piper earlier on. I'm just looking through. Great little battle going on. I believe this is going to be between Nick Dicesare and Evan Pienta. This is going on for the 8th position right now. Dicesare slowly creeping up on the back bumper of Evan Pienta. That Sunoco is getting a little bit bigger in the rearview mirror of the driver of the number 55.
Yeah, he's slowly creeping up there, and he's just, the attitude of that truck, of that 00, just looks really good. You can tell, Nick is being a little bit modest, saying that he don't want to be called a road course expert. He gets around these road courses really well. Like he and his teammate Matt Koontz, we know that they've done a lot of sports car racing on here on the service, and these trucks are obviously a little bit different than those cars, but a lot of the same principles and a lot of the same, approach that you have to have still pays off. And, Evan Pienta's no slouch on road courses either. He gets around them pretty well, and, Dicesare is just, keeping him honest here.
Yeah, these guys are actually pretty evenly matched. Looking in the stat book, Nick Dicesare has an average finish on road courses the past 6 races of 8th, and Evan Pienta has an average finish of 9th. So right now, doing battle on the track, pretty evenly matched. The stats would also kind of back that story up. Dicesare about 4 or 5 car lengths.
Ooh.
Looks like Pienta gets a little bit loose out of that corner, headed on the front straightaway. Got loose in turn number 9. Might give Dicesare a bit of an edge as they make this big right-hander down into turn number 1. Thought I saw a battle going on up ahead of them. I believe that was just some lap traffic that some of our leaders were clearing. Right now, this battle's kind of settled out a little bit. I'm looking for other battles going out on the track. Go ahead.
It's pretty close action right here between Johnny Rapp and Josh Ward. These guys are pretty close on the track, pretty close on speed as well. Back behind Josh Ward, we got Wesley Pistol running in 11th, Chase Berry running in 12th. Chase Berry hasn't quite been able to make up the ground I think that he thought that he would. And I'm going to give a shout out to Lee Campbell right now, running in the 13th position. This is really good. I'm not sure about the road stats for Lee Campbell, but I feel like this might be one of his better runs on road courses. He's looking pretty stout here.
I think you are absolutely right. I was looking at an off track. I believe we just had an incident, Chris, with James Danforth headed down into turn number 10, I believe. I don't think he got the wall. He gets it going here on lap number 12. But it looks like he just tried to save it a handful of times and almost had it, but just could not hold on to it.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a tank slapper right there. We'll go back and watch it again right here. Coming off this corner, just dips the left side wheels off just a little bit. He does a nice job of not overreacting. Locks it down when he realizes that he can't save it. Man, a lot of drivers could learn a lesson right there about not overreacting and, creating a bigger mess right there.
Yeah, he definitely got those brakes going.
Might have had another
he did it again he did it again.
Ryan Hinkle. Ryan Hinkle into the wall right here, coming off of turn 5. Sorry to interrupt.
You're good. I was going to mention that one as well. I think we're starting to see the point, Chris, where tires now on lap 13 might be starting to get the feelsies for a lot of these guys, and a little bit of traction is the struggle right now for some of these guys.
Absolutely, and at this point in the race right here, all the goodie has been taken out of the tires, and you're just for some of these guys who have maybe pushed a little bit harder than what they need to, they're suffering for it just a little bit right here. So they really want to get to lap 20. It would be great to get to the halfway mark, but if you could at least get to lap 20, I think you would feel really good about going the rest of the way right here, as Aaron Smith is still got a pretty comfortable lead right here over Scotty Sobczak.
Yeah, right now Aaron Smith is scored as your leader in that Hank Thomas Performance number 70 Chevy Silverado, that bright yellow iconic paint scheme. Smith in first. Second place, Scotty Sobczak, another off track. It looks like this time, Chris, for Randy Bechdel. Randy Bechdel off track, it looked like there on lap number 14. We'll see if we can go back and find out what happened to the driver, that number 51, who was in 4th place at the time of that incident. You're right. He got into the wall. Hard contact.
Yeah, we're following Randy here.
This is your points leader, so there are championship implications.
We might have gone back a little bit too far. Oh, yeah, I see what happened right there. He just dipped a wheel, and he dipped a wheel to the right. That's easy to do. Trying to get the best entry that you can right here into turn 2. And, man, he tried to fight it right there and sideswiped the wall right there with the right side. Hopefully, everything is okay. And he's able to, sort of maintain the pace that he's been at here. But, that's easy to do when you try to set up yourself on corner entry to some of these turns.
And Chris, I don't want to make light of Randy's plight here, but I wonder if he was trying to make an adjustment on his keyboard to brake bias that might help him get through these corners a little bit better, and just got a little bit distracted. You got a second to talk about sim racing concepts, button box dashes?
Sure, absolutely.
Go ahead and pull this graphic up. I tried to make that as seamless of a transition as possible. We need to take a moment to hear from our partners who make this race possible. Tonight, one lucky driver is going to have the opportunity to win a Sim Racing Concepts button box in a post-race giveaway. All drivers eligible who start the race in that wheel spin would become post-race tradition here, Slingshot Racing. But one of the products that Sim Racing Concepts has out on the market right now that you can take home and put on your racing rig is a modular dash system, allowing you to swap out button boxes on the fly, different arrangements, different colors, different panel designs and layouts. I know, Chris, you've got one of those. How's your experience been so far? You still liking that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I use it often, use it regularly. I will actually pull it up here. I don't have the graphic to go with it, but it looks like this right here, the dash that I have, and I've got 2 button boxes. You have the choice of what button box that you would like to add to your dash. These are the 2 that I went with right here, the one that you see on the left and to the right there. I've got the RPM light bar over there on the left, and the one with the knobs on the right-hand side that I use for my brake bias that you were mentioning before. I guess, those that RPM light bar would come in handy tonight to tell me, the idiot, when to shift, because I really need all the help that I can get on road courses. I'm a big fan of it. Like I said, I can't imagine what my sim racing life was like before I had it, because I use it that often, and it comes in handy.
And you can check those out at simracingconcepts.com. We're proud to partner with them for tonight and the rest of the season. Hey, I want to bring it back to Randy Bechdel real quick. Give him credit where credit is due. We were joking about him trying to adjust his brake bias. That probably wasn't the case. Just sometimes you get so focused where you miss one corner and it could go wrong. Lucky for Randy Bechdel, Chris, though, despite that wall slap, I think that number 51 truck is just fine. Looking at lap times,
look good.
He's running some faster lap times. He's running faster than his teammate Justin Wilson, up in third, a position ahead. So the driver of the 51, we thought that might have more serious implications, and that story remains kind of to be seen at this point. But right now, the 51 looking pretty good, trying to chase down Justin Wilson. Tony Caputo,
I think we got some trouble.
Might have had an incident as well. Yeah,
he goes
similar
off track.
place, I believe, to where Randy Bechdel wrecked.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll actually go back here and see if we can see this one more time right here. A little bit different perspective. Yeah, just caught a little bit too much of the curb, and it sort of threw that truck sideways. He does a nice job, though, of sort of corralling it, and he's able to, continue on right here in that sweet Baby Ray's Chevrolet.
Speaking of continuing on and continuing forward, Josh Ward. We got a battle going on for 9th position. Josh Ward in 10th. Looking like he's working on Johnny Rapp. I was starting to say he was making up a little bit of ground on Rapp, and of course, as soon as I decided I was going to take a look at that, it looks like Rapp might have put the throttle down a little bit. I know we got Johnny Sr. watching in the chat right now. Big Johnny, we might call him, watching the chat. We hope he's having a good night so far. Enjoying Johnny have a good run.
Man, Johnny, yeah, you can see what happened right there. If you get offline, Johnny got a little bit wide right there before entry right there to turn 5, and Josh Ward gained a ton of ground on him on entry to turn 5. And he's going to have a nice run on him down the Mario Andretti straightaway right here. We'll see if he can make a move on him. I don't know if I think he might be a little bit too far back to make anything happen here. Johnny is a good road course racer as well. He'll tell you that he's only good at Road America, but he gets around them all pretty well.
He does get around pretty well. We saw him have a moment there on the exit of turn 5. Chris, I was going to mention that in pre-race, we talk about precision. The exit of turn 5 on that long straightaway, we just saw it, is a pivotal point in the track in terms of passing and not getting past, right? If you get off that corner well, you can take a shot at somebody. If you don't get off that corner well, someone might take a shot at you. And we just saw that kind of evidence there, that past lap with Johnny Rapp and Josh Ward. Aaron Smith is still your leader. Scotty Sobczak in second. It's about a 2.7 second gap back to second. Meanwhile, Justin Wilson in third, about 6 seconds behind them. Randy Bechdel about 3 seconds behind Justin Wilson. Things pretty tame up in the top 5. closest battle, Chris, I'm seeing Chris Pierce making a little bit of a run here down the Mario Andretti straightaway. He has gained over a second on Randy Bechdel the past couple of laps. So the driver of that number 65, currently in 5th position, looking like he's wanting to work his way up into 4th, maybe taking advantage of an ill-handling race truck from Randy Bechdel in that number 51. A couple of different lines we see them running here through this final complex, headed down onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, he's gaining on him just a little bit here. That damage, I don't think it's hurting Randy too much. I think he's going to be okay, but it might be affecting the speed, just overall here. And obviously, we don't know how that truck is driving. He does. It looks like he's a little bit loose right there, actually, in turn 1. So hopefully there's no suspension damage to that 51. But yeah, Chris Pierce has been fast, for really since he started running with us in Slingshot. So not surprised at all to see him having a top 5 run tonight. I think the last time we were north of the border, actually, at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in the Xfinity cars, he was contending for a podium that night.
Yeah, interesting little battle. Jacob Bradley, speaking of podium drivers, he's seen several podiums this season. 8th position, working on Nick Dicesare. They've got lap traffic. I believe that's Tony Caputo. They're working their way around, headed down into Quebec corner here, turn number 3.
Oh!
This is actually Moss corner. My apologies.
Yeah, we'll go back right here. There was some contact right there between Bradley and Caputo.
Caputo and Ward. Ward just turned Caputo on the exit. Caputo really having a hard time here with leaders working their way by in lap traffic right now. Caputo came out the really bad end of that one. He gets turned by Josh Ward. Leaders just could not stay out of the way there. Hard place to pass.
Yeah, when you're a little bit off the pace, like Tony Caputo is here tonight, it's really hard down there in turn 5 because the track really kind of narrows up, and you just have to be super, super, super careful. And unfortunately, just a little bit of contact right there turned Caputo around, but he's going to continue on right here, no damage.
Yeah, we got another battle shaping up. 10th, 11th, and 12th position. Josh Ward, Wesley Pistol, and really Johnny Rapp right in front of them in 9th position. Chris, Wesley Pistol, this is a stat I did not realize. I wouldn't venture to call Wesley Pistol a road course expert, but I was surprised when I looked at his stats. In the past 4 Slingshot Racing road course races he's run, Chris, his average finish, want to take a shot. Am I putting you in a bad position here by maybe under-guessing his average finishing position?
I'm
take a guess?
I'm going to take a guess to about 5th place.
Oh, you're all right on the money. Did we already talk about that? Did I give that stat away earlier?
No, I just knew it.
That's pretty good. Okay.
No, you gave it away. You gave it away earlier.
Hey, at least you're honest. At least you're honest. Right now, that battle gets sorted out a little bit. Wesley Pistol in that Tennessee Volunteers orange and white truck had a pretty good run, but sitting right now in the 10th, 11th position rather. But yeah, his average finishing position on road courses the past 4 races, 5th position. So I think a lot of that has to do with perseverance. Wesley is one of those guys who goes out and just digs and digs and digs. And we mentioned it, Chris. He just seems to get better as the race progresses. We saw that really evident last season in the Xfinity cars, where he would start further back in the field and work his way back to the top 10, within the first half of the race. Qualifying was one of his biggest weaknesses. Tonight, I believe he qualified 10th position, so pretty good, and he stuck around there. But yeah, Wesley Pistol having a good little run out there in that number 94 truck.
Yeah, he's just sort of making really, really good steady laps right here, not making any mistakes. And the fact that he hasn't moved up is not because he's slow. It's just not a lot of people making mistakes around him. And that just speaks to just the road course quality. The drivers here in the series. I know that we're watching this battle right here, and it's a very intense battle as these guys lap past Larry Poling. Larry gets out of the way, does a nice job right there. But man, I just want to go back up to the front of the field. I thought that Aaron Smith was going to just walk away with this thing tonight.
He's not walking away with it.
Scotty Sobczak is keeping him honest. He is running like that lap right there. He was about 0.3 of a second quicker that lap. And, he's put together a lot of, really good laps right here. Now, those drivers, they are teammates. They might be sharing some information that, to try to pull away from the field like they are, because they are 10 seconds up on the next closest competition, Justin Wilson in third.
Yeah, I think regardless of what happens tonight, I think kudos to the driver, that number 81, for just driving his guts out and holding Aaron Smith honest tonight. Speaking of holding people honest, Patrick Colby and Sean Johnson, good little battle going on for the 15th position back here as the drivers work their way through the final 8, 9, and 10 complex here onto the front straightaway. Patrick Colby up against the back bumper of Sean Johnson right now, trying to make a pass down into one.
And we got some drivers on pit road right here. We got Jacob Bradley, Evan Pienta on the pit lane right here, getting some service right here. But we're about at the halfway point, and they are, they were, I think that they were some of the first ones to pit here. Looks like we've also had Raymond Hanneman on pit road. I don't know if that was a scheduled pit stop right there. Matt Koontz has also made a pit stop as well. So we'll start to see drivers come to the pit lane now. Riding on board right here with Sean Johnson, looking back at Patrick Colby. Patrick Colby making up some nice ground right here through turn 5. Oh, a little bit loose right there. All that ground that he made up, he lost. And back behind Colby, you see Evan Pienta, who just came off the pit road. This would be a really good chance for us to see what the difference is between drivers with fresh tires, drivers with older tires here.
Chris, you got a copy?
Got you loud and clear.
Sorry about that. I think somehow, weirdly enough, I hit my mute button on my mic. I don't think I've ever done that before. I figured once you kind of chimed in there going on board, you're like, yeah, they can't hear me at all. So sorry about that. I am back. You mentioned several drivers. What I was mentioning right before I left you hanging there was short pitting might be a strategy several drivers try tonight, and we've seen that kind of play out. We'll see what kind of role that plays in terms of speed and whether or not they're able to make up any track positions. We watch Patrick Colby and a couple of other trucks come in. Does this force the hand, really, of Aaron Smith and Randy Bechdel? Scotty Sobczak right now has pit, and I think this is entering a crucial point of the race.
Yeah, Scotty Sobczak coming to pit road has forced the hand of Aaron Smith, I think. Like if Aaron, and I think Aaron Smith is actually on pit road now, he had to come this lap with Scotty Sobczak making that pit stop. Scotty Sobczak had closed the gap to about 1.3 seconds behind Aaron Smith. I didn't say anything to you before, Ellis, mainly because I just now noticed it, but Aaron Smith messaged me right when we were beginning the broadcast, saying that he's that confident. Said, don't be afraid to pull me into the boot tonight during the race, even if I'm racing for the lead. I always have time to chat. I don't think this is the best time right here when he's on pit road.
No. We'll get him once he gets a couple of laps out here, probably.
Yeah, but he's feeling confident tonight.
Yeah, well, we will see right now. I believe Scotty Sobczak, we see Aaron Smith running through that wide corner. I believe they're headed down into, I'm trying to find out where they are on the track right now. They're headed down into the Quebec corner into turn 3.
That's right.
And Scotty Sobczak is at about 2.4 seconds. I'm curious to see if he can gain any more of that back, because right now it's looking like Aaron Smith came out ahead on that exchange a little bit surprising with those fresh tires that Scotty was not able to make up any more ground than he did.
Yeah, me too. And, anything could have happened. He could have got caught up in some traffic. I think he might have actually been in some traffic. I think we might have a crash on the track, possibly involving Larry Poley. We'll look back right here and we can see maybe what happened to Larry. It looks like he just drove off right there. So
just barely coming to pit road.
Yep.
All is clean and green for that green number 69.
Yeah, and anything could have happened that caused that. And Aaron Smith might have also done the Michael Schumacher. And if anybody who watched Formula One in the early 2000s, you know what I mean. Michael Schumacher was always just so good at turning up the wick like a lap or two before he came to pit road, especially if other drivers had already come to pit road. He was just really, really good at just like he had been holding on to just a little bit, and he would just crank it up right there before his pit stop. And so Aaron Smith might have very well have done that to, open up some gap. In the lap since then, Scotty Sobczak was in some traffic, but Aaron Smith has really opened it up to another second here at 3.6 seconds now. I
believe we're seeing most drivers having come to pit road at this point. Lap number 25 of 45, over halfway here through the Sim Racing Concepts Grand Prix for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the broadcast booth tonight for Slingshot Racing. Watching Johnny Rapp exit pit road. Aaron Smith is your leader. Scotty Sobczak second in that number 81. About 3.5 seconds back, Justin Wilson running third. Randy Bechdel fourth. Chris Pierce is in fifth. That top five has kind of held station for the past 10 or 15 laps, Chris. And you mentioned talking to Aaron Smith in the car. I think we're going to try to do that here in just a moment, but we're going to take a quick break to get a word from our sponsors who help us pay the bills and these drivers here. We're going to go ahead and hear from Hank Thomas Performance and Apex Energy, and we'll be back on the other end of that break with an interview with race leader Aaron Smith of that Hank Thomas Performance machine.
Hank Thomas Performance is a Sunoco race fuel master distributor located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Our territory covers North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, as well as the Panhandle of Florida, providing quality Sunoco race fuel to many track and dealers throughout the region. In addition to Sunoco race fuels, Hank Thomas Performance distributes high-quality methanol and at-track supplies, as well as miscellaneous gas containers and everyday products that the at-track racer wants and needs as they compete at their local asphalt and dirt ovals, plus drag strips. You can reach us at 800-848-HANK, or if you're in our area, come out and visit us at the shop.
Back here live outside of Toronto at Mosport, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance, round number 6 here. Alongside Aaron Smith, who we've got with us in the booth. Technically, he's in the truck right now, but he is your race leader. We're going to check in with him. He messaged Chris before the race and said, hey, feel free to pull me in. That is not an opportunity we're going to let go by the wayside. So Aaron Smith right now looks like you're out for a Sunday drive. I don't mean to minimize what you're doing out there, man, but you are making it look easy. How do you do it? What goes into making it look as easy as you are right now?
Well, you have to race like you have an egg under your gas pedal, and I've had a lot of experience running these stock cars in the road courses, so I'd say that it's worked out for me well so far, but yeah, still got plenty of time left. Anything can happen. Had a couple close calls with some lap trucks earlier on, but if we can keep this up, should have a pretty solid victory.
We did notice you had to go through a couple of packs of lap cars earlier, and you mentioned it. It is a tenuous situation when that happens. How's the truck handling? We felt like we were seeing drivers slide around as that run went on. Was the truck kind of losing its handling towards the end of that life cycle on the tires?
I don't really know how to describe it, really. I mean, the tires kind of feel like styrofoam out here. We're about 5 seconds off the pace from where we were able to run in these things about 5 years ago. So it's certainly a lot slippier, a lot more difficult to handle, but I'd say I have a pretty good handle on it.
Man, you are doing a solid job. I think we might be seeing you get ready to take over the points lead for the first time this season. These points have been flip-flopping all over the place. So, hey, man, we're going to let you go for now. We might be talking to you in Victory Lane if all goes according to your plan. Appreciate you letting us sit in with you for a moment.
10-4. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Heard from Aaron Smith there. He is your race leader. Scotty Sobczak second right now. Justin Wilson is third, but I want to go ahead, Chris, I think we should head over to the battle for sixth position going on between Jacob Bradley and Evan Pienta. We got a hot one shaping up here as the drivers head down into turn number 1. Or actually onto the final complex towards the front straightaway.
Yeah, these are the S's right here, making the final turn 10. Oh, some contact right there between Pienta and Bradley. I think that Bradley might have gotten into the back of him right here. We'll go back and we'll see if that did occur right here to entry right here to turn 10. Oh, yeah, there was some contact. Those drivers do a nice job of keeping it straight. But, yeah, this is getting close and, you know, all that ground that Jacob Bradley had gained, looks like he's lost that now, but he's got plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities to sort of make that up right here. I like the theme of the paint scheme right there on Jacob Bradley's truck. He's got sort of the Skip Barber racing school vibe going on that number 50 truck.
Yeah, a little bit of a spin-off, the Jacob Bradley Racing School. Right now, if you're Bradley, you just kind of dig up. Oh, Evan Pienta!
Pienta's around.
Sideways through the corner. Is he going to catch Bradley? He doesn't. Bradley narrowly avoids a cyclone with that number 55 Evan Pienta Designs truck in the middle of it. I think Bradley might need to take an even deeper breath right now as he watches Pienta gather it up in the rearview mirror and heads off down that Marion straightaway to the final portion of the track, Chris. Looks like Evan Pienta might have just locked up the brakes and got on him a little bit too hard, headed into turn number 5, that Moss corner.
Yeah, yeah, that was really, really sketchy. Yeah, it started all the way back here, kind of rewinding just a little bit because I want to ride on board with Evan Pienta, show you what he saw. He got a little bit far left there, and the truck was a little bit out of control on entry. He cuts the wheel hard left right here, and I thought that we were going to have a major situation right there as it bit, and it looked like it was going to turn right back into Jacob Bradley, but does a nice job of keeping it straight, and they continue on right there, no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. Both drivers continue the march forward. Just about 15 laps left here from Toronto at Mosport Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. We are 2/3 of the way through the Sim Racing Concepts Grand Prix for the Apex Energy Truck Series from Hank Thomas Performance in Slingshot Racing League. Aaron Smith still leads, Scotty Sobczak second. You just saw Evan Pienta have a handful of Jacob Bradley almost get right in the middle of that mess. Just looking at for some closer battles going on the track, Chris. I was about to say, Chase Berry and Wesley Pistol getting ready to do duel here as Pistol draws up about 5-6 car lengths off the back bumper. Looks like what we saw, or what we talked about earlier with getting a good run off of 5, though it looks like Berry might have gotten a better run. I just saw him shake down to the inside. Was that an attempt to maybe shake the draft of the number 94 of Wesley Pistol?
Very well could be, and I will admit that...
Berry really loose. He tries to cover that position. Almost had another driver have trouble there. Similar line to Randy Bechdel, and saw it almost go as poorly for Chase Berry in the number 46.
Yeah, it almost did. And I'll admit that I don't have the context for this battle right here. I don't know how this has transpired, but I think that it's becoming very clear that Wesley Pistol might have a little bit of speed on Chase Berry right here, and I like the way that truck looks right there. It looks like he is able to really hit the apex nicely. You know, sort of seen that on a couple of corners right. Yeah, look how he rolls right there. Yeah, that's what you want to do. You heard Aaron Smith bring up, you know, you got to treat the throttle like, you know, there's an egg between your foot and that pedal, and that's how you make speed around here in these stock cars on road courses. And Wesley Pistol looks like he's got that truck rolling really nice.
He is rolling. As we mentioned, this is a battle for the 9th position, Chris. And I'm just, as we ride on board with that number 46 truck, that thing has been hung out the past couple of laps, making me nervous. I know I could not drive a car that on the edge like what we see the driver number 46, Chase Berry, that Florida driver. Right now, he is he's letting it all hang out. So you watch Wesley Pistol poke a nose out, try to make a run at it on down into turn number 8, but didn't quite have the position to do so.
He didn't, and you know what he's also trying to do right there is you just want to get out of the mirrors. You hear that phrase often on road courses. Getting out of the mirrors of the driver in front of you is just a way in which you try to get them to maybe possibly make a mistake. It's hard to pass. It's not easy to complete passes around here. And so if you, Wesley Pistol loose right there off of turn 1. He's able to save it. If you're able to get out of the mirror, maybe poke a nose to the right or to the left on corner entry, you can get that driver looking. They might make a mistake, and you might be able to get an easy pass done.
Easy passes, that's about the only place you're going to find it, though, Chris. And no passing has been easy tonight unless you're passing a car that's going the opposite direction, the wrong way around the track. It has been tough going for these drivers out here tonight. Passing has been difficult. One of the most treacherous parts of the track right now. Wesley Pistol runs off there in the second apex of Moss Corner, turn number 5. We've seen that kind of in the danger zone tonight. That really didn't surprise us. As we took a lap around, we talked about how difficult that corner could be. Sterling Moss redesigned that originally back in the 60s because he did not like it and redesigned it to be a little bit more challenging of a corner, hence why it's named after Sterling Moss. Chris, hey, little pop quiz here. You and I are both teachers. Pop quiz for the chat. We've got several people right now. I know looks like Alexander Howard just joined, rooting for Scotty. Brittany Rapp watching, Don Hill Bruins, Patrick Piper, John Rapp. Several folks in the chat right now. Connor, we appreciate you joining as well. Sorry if we missed anybody. Pop quiz for all the students in the chat right now. See if you were listening or how well versed in motorsports you are. Can you tell us, without looking it up, be honest, don't look it up. Can you tell us when Canadian Tire Motorsports Park became the permanent home of Formula One's Canadian Grand Prix? When it became the permanent home, what year do we say it became the permanent home of the Canadian Grand Prix on the Formula One calendar for a handful of years? Can you tell us what year that is? A little pop quiz in the chat. See how well you know your racing knowledge.
I'll tell you what, Ellis. Tell you
What's
what.
that?
You brought up that that good lesson right there with Sterling Moss, redesigning turn 5 because he didn't like it. Well, I think some of our drivers right here are going to wish that it could be redesigned back to the way it was before, because it's been treacherous tonight.
And that we mentioned, I think it just gets worse as these runs go for these drivers, because you mentioned a lot of the feel good is gone from those tires, and it makes getting on the brakes and holding on to it, getting that traction, the tire contact with that concrete patch on the track just becomes that much more difficult as these tires get worn down further. So, hey, no one's chiming in the chat, man. Is this I've stumped people? I'll give you another minute or so. It is a tough one, but I did, as I tell my students, I said this earlier. I said it earlier. Y'all are giving me PTSD of the school day right now. But what year, one last chance, what year did Mosport or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park become the permanent home of the Canadian F1 Grand Prix for a handful of years? Give you 30 seconds before we reveal the answer. Nothing on the line other than bragging rights here. Hey, speaking of bragging rights, Chris, Aaron Smith's got him covered right now. 6.5 seconds up on Scotty Sobczak. I know we've got a Scotty Sobczak fan in the chat right now. Appreciate her joining in. Justin Wilson is third, Randy Bechdel fourth, Chris Pierce still fifth, Jacob Bradley sixth, Evan Pienta seventh, Josh Ward having a good run. I know Josh, Chris, came into Miami last week, sitting in 8th position right now, came into Miami last week looking to get back, continue the energy and the momentum as the points leader coming off of a win at Talladega, and he got involved in the late race crash and it set him back to third in points. Right now, doing a good job just kind of stopping the bleeding. Josh, not necessarily known for being a road course racer, but he's holding his own up here in 8th position right now. That driver out of North Carolina in what we become a very familiar white and blue number 92 LN Kart paint scheme. Doing a good job looking to get back in that championship talk, that conversation that honestly, Chris, 4 or 5 drivers or more are in. We mentioned it every race. It feels like this is the stoutest of fields that we've had so far, Slingshot Racing League and any of our Apex Energy Series seasons. And man, he's one of those drivers that I don't think we're going to know probably till the final race or two who's going to win this thing.
He's in an LN karting truck. I mean, he's got to bring it on the road courses, right? I mean, he's got to be fast on the road courses.
Okay, so I can read the name, but what is LN karting? Walk me through this. And the fans at home.
I will not admit to having a a lot of knowledge about it. I don't know, but I want to say it has something to do with Lando Norris. Am I right or am I wrong on that?
No, I think you're right. I'm just looking it up right now.
I'll admit I'm not 100% sure on it.
LN Racing Kart by OTK Kart Group, which is now an Italian company, was born in 2021 by the idea and efforts of Lando Norris, who's a McLaren Formula One driver who won several international kart championships earlier in his career. I did not know that. Hey, but, that's a great transition real quick to what year did Mosport become the home of the Canadian Grand Prix? 1972. Dawn, 2010 was a good guess, but, she says if this is one of the 9 times.
Is this one of those times where pay attention, there will be a quiz later?
Yeah, I didn't announce it. And all my kids are like, well, you didn't announce we're going to have a pop quiz. I'm like, that's the point of the pop quiz. So, Don, you've learned your lesson. You better be paying attention from now on. Everyone else in the chat as well. We'll pull another one out next week. Maybe we'll put a diecast on the line next week when we head to – Chris, where are we headed next to? Next week, Am I putting you on the spot? I know, but I want to see if you know.
You're putting me on the spot. If you give me just a second, I could.
It's Bristol.
It's Bristol. Yeah, that's a good one.
Caputo! Josh Ward, Caputo. That
Man.
7 truck runs the 92 off the track, and Chris, it was once again in Moss Corner.
Yeah, and Josh Ward, all that ground that he had worked to gain right there on Evan Pienta, that all goes away right there as Caputo hits the inside curb right there, sort of runs Josh Ward right there into the dirt, and that's unfortunate for Josh Ward. Hopefully he can get back after it and try to get back after Evan Pienta here.
Not a lot of damage. Josh Ward did a good job of kind of keeping it on the track. You make the pass on the outside on a lap car, that sort of thing can happen, especially we've seen that place be trouble for a lot of drivers, especially later on in the run right now. Josh Ward in 8th position. Battle going on.
Pienta in the grass.
9th position. Yeah, let's see what happened to Evan Pienta sitting there in 7th position.
It's like he just went wide a little bit, turn 1, and but that being said, all that ground that he had gained on Josh Ward right there, he's kind of lost it now as Josh Ward pulls back up on his back bumper, and not that far behind these guys, Chase Berry, Wesley Pistol, Nick Dicesare. This is a good little battle from about 7th to 11th.
We got a handful of cars coming in about the 8th, or actually the 9th, 10th, 11th position. I think we're going to have a little battle shaping up here in the next couple of laps, watching Josh Ward chase down Evan Pienta right now, looking to grapple here down the Mario Andretti straightaway, headed down into turn number 8 in this final 3-turn complex of the track. Chris, going to take one last ad break before we come back for the final 6 or 7 laps of this race. Going to hear from Evan Pienta Designs, who we're riding on board with right now, as well as a new partner we're happy to announce, Butt Kicker. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get back from the break. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta.
Haptics is everything from the rumble in your game controller to the vibration from your text notification. Essentially, it's a sense of touch mediated by technology. In our increasingly digital world, there's a divide between the technology we use and how we're used to interacting with the world. Haptics bridges this divide by introducing feedback through your sense of touch. This allows your brain to connect with what it's seeing on a screen or in a game. Butt Kicker is a pioneer in haptic technology. For over 20 years, Butt Kicker hardware has helped cinemas, musicians, and gamers immerse themselves in their medium and drastically increase their experiences. Not only does it increase immersion, but for things like sim racing, it can actually help you drive better by introducing real-time, accurate feedback. To learn more about Butt Kicker haptics, head over to thebuttkicker.com.
All right, we're back here live. Lots of action going on the track. Wesley Pistol and Chase Berry just had contact on the front straightaway. We're going to go take a look at what happened here on lap number 39. This was a battle for the 9th position, I believe, when it happened. Looks like Pistol's on the inside, Berry's on the outside.
This is a corner right here where we've seen a lot of real-life NASCAR crashes over the years. And Pistol right here, we'll actually ride on board with him. He's going to make a... Yeah, that's a really... It's an aggressive move right there, because if you watch him on corner entry, he's not quite there. Yeah, he just makes a really shallow entry right there to make up some ground, and unfortunately Chase Berry gets turned around because of that contact. That was a pretty optimistic move, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and right now that's going to put Chase Berry back in the 12th position. So a net loss of about 3 positions for Berry, a net gain of 1 position for Wesley Pistol. I'm looking at another incident that happened on the track, Chris. Scott Tompkins, another issue in turn 5, was off track and just looped it around here on lap number 40 of 45. He gets it going. But this is one of about 3 incidents we've seen on lap number 40 here. Scott Tompkins, the
right in
most
front of Wesley
recent
Pistol.
victim. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of issues going on the track right now. But no issues so far for Aaron Smith, who's up on second place. Scotty Sobczak by about 8.5 seconds. They've got about 15 seconds on Justin Wilson. Right now, it's really, with just about 5 laps left, it's going to be Aaron Smith's race to lose. Obviously, plenty can happen. There is still plenty of racing going on the track, including in 10th position, where Nick Dicesare is slowly running down Wesley Pistol. About 2/10 faster that lap was the 0-0 of Nick Dicesare sitting in 10th, working his way towards 9th. Dicesare with a good little outing going. I want to quickly mention, as we watch that battle, his teammate Matt Koontz back in the 13th position. Had lost several spots earlier in the race, but Koontz back up to 13th, having a pretty solid run so far, is the driver of that number 13 truck. Teammates, Very Racing Motorsports teammates of Nick Dicesare. Both cars in the top 13 right now. Solid night going for those guys. I think they've got a couple of fans in the chat right now. Koontz sitting 13th, Dicesare sitting 10th. Looking maybe for a little bit better in that 9th position. Wesley Pistol got a sight set on that number 94 orange and white truck. Not a hard truck to see here with just about 5 laps left to go. But hey, one cool thing, Chris, I wanted to mention real quick. Just 5 races left in the regular season. We know that 12 drivers are going to qualify for the chase, but that doesn't mean that the other 30-odd drivers don't have something to fight for. Butt Kicker's helping us present the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge. Starting with the playoffs, the drivers 13th through the rest of the field are going to be facing off against each other in one-on-one matchups each week, with the final 2 fighting it out at Homestead. The winner will receive a Butt Kicker Gamer Plus setup. That's valued at over $250. So big prize on the line. Champion this season is going to take one of those home as well. We appreciate Butt Kicker coming on board for season 6 of Slingshot Racing League, Chris. Right now, it is getting tense. There might be some butt kicking going on between these 2 drivers before the end of the race arrives. Nick Dicesare quietly chasing down Wesley Pistol here. We can see how close he's gotten to the rear bumper. Pistol's going to be coming up, I believe, on a lap truck of, I believe that might be Jay Leach.
Yep.
So we'll see if Nick Dicesare, is there anything you can do with this lap? Oh, right in front of them.
Yeah.
Leach gets sideways off the corner. If you're that 0-0, how are you thinking about trying to use the number 22 of Jay Leach?
Jay Leach is offline right there, and that caused Wesley Pistol to go wide. Here comes Dicesare. He's going to try to use this opportunity. Can he complete the pass side by side in terms of this is a tough corner to do
Pistol do this to Chase Berry. Pistol gets off the throttle. They're side by side out of the corner. They head down into turn number 3, Quebec corner. It's going to be Dicesare who picks up the 9th spot. Wesley Pistol looking to fight back on that number 00 as they head down towards turn number 4 and into Moss Corner. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, and that all started with that lap truck, forcing Wesley Pistol to go a little bit offline. And because of that forcing right there, Nick Dicesare could run the racing line, and these guys are pretty close on speed, I think. I don't think it's a situation where one is like really, really a lot faster than the other one. They've been pretty close on speed here over the course of this run, and Wesley Pistol's got a chance to battle back on Nick Dicesare.
Yeah, gets a good run off of turn number 5 down that Marion Andretti straightaway. We're heading into the final complex here. You mentioned it. A good run off of 5 can set you up for a pass down the back straightaway. Wesley Pistol not able to capitalize on that run this time by. He's got just about 3 laps left if he's going to do it. We've got a great battle, but the gap grows a little bit between 9th and 10th to Cesare and Pistol. Everyone else pretty much single file on the track. This is the closest battle going on. You're not missing anything right now. Scotty Sobczak is 9 seconds back on Aaron Smith, who scored as your leader in that number 70 Hank Thomas Performance Chevy Silverado. You're watching the closest action we've got right now with just about 3 laps left.
And, Johnny Rapp is actually not too far back behind these guys. If they get to racing, that would bring Rapp up into the battle for the 9th position.
Yeah, we did see a lap car kind of foil the race between these two guys a lap or two ago. They're going to be coming up on more lap traffic, Chris, I think. Based on the speeds that I'm seeing, I believe to Cesare. I'm going to see what car that is. I believe
it might be
actually
Evan.
That might be Evan Pienta, so I don't know if they're going to catch Evan Pienta or not. So lap traffic might not be an issue for this little battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th. But, man, hey, one shout-out, Tony Caputo on that number 7 truck. He has been all over the place tonight, but he has stuck it out.
Still running.
With just 2 laps left, still running. Paul Thomas in that same category. Ryan Hinkle. A lot of these guys have had trouble. They are not road course experts. And, for us guys who run a lot of ovals, these road courses aren't easy. And they can be intimidating. It's why tonight you see 28 drivers instead of 35, 36 drivers. A couple drivers maybe had schedule conflicts or decided to take the night off. These can be intimidating races. Myself, I took a week off in another series. We're running from Sonoma just because I was worn out and couldn't imagine running a road course. So shout out to these guys who have been out there all night just logging laps, doing a real good job out there. So congrats to them on probably not the night that they wanted, but a finish is a finish at one of these things. You feel like a winner even though you might not bring it home in the top 10.
Absolutely. It's Aaron Smith, who has dominated from green flag to white flag now, has received the white flag. He's working the final lap right here. Yeah, I want to say that I think those drivers have done a really nice job all night of, just recognizing where they're at, staying out of the leader's way. I know we've seen a little bit of contact, but that's to be expected on a road course. I think all in all, it's been a really clean night tonight.
It has been a really clean night. You mentioned we saw some drivers have trouble down in turn 5 and a few other places on the track. That is road course racing. We know we had no cautions, local yellows only tonight. Fast-moving race, just about an hour's time. Everyone's done a good job. I think it was a great way to get back on track after a bit of a dicey, wild race at Miami. I think we needed a little bit of serenity in our lives, as Aaron Smith feeling a lot of serenity right now. Headed down this final complex. He is getting ready to head down towards the line. Couple lap cars in front of him he's going to have to contend with, man. But today, Aaron Smith put on a masterful performance in that Hank Thomas Performance, number 70. He is the winner at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. It's going to be about 8 more seconds until Scotty Sobczak crosses the line. He does so now. Justin Wilson not going to be far off, just a few seconds back. Wilson really getting the season back on track today with a 3rd place finish, rounding out, I should say, the podium here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Aaron Smith led, I believe, Chris, every single lap besides the ones that he was in the pit for. It does not get much more dominant than that. This being the driver that has an average overall road course finish in Slingshot Racing League of 2nd place. Man, this is shades of these road course guys who would just come in and dominate and not, no one else in the field would have anything for these guys. Aaron Smith put on a whale of a show in that bright yellow machine today. We're going to talk to him as well as the other 2 podium finishers momentarily. But, man, great race, a lot of excitement with a few battles towards the end there. Can't ask for much more than that at one of these road courses. If you enjoyed what you're seeing, go ahead, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button as well. Let us know you liked what you saw tonight. Road course a little bit different, but we appreciate every ounce of support we get from you, our community. You're one of the reasons we do this. We're glad to bring you great racing action every single week here. Going to bring in Justin Wilson here from the third place finisher tonight for a quick little interview.
Oh, and hopefully Aaron Smith doesn't get tore up right here, and he's going to avoid that.
Justin Wilson, driver of the number 58 machine. This is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I know Chris and I had mentioned in pre-race, not to rag on you, but this has not been the season that I think we're accustomed to seeing from you. Tonight, I felt like headed in the right direction. Third place finish for that number 58 truck. You're good at road courses. What got you through tonight? What was kind of the... Let's do a rose and a thorn. You ever done that with your family? One good thing and one bad thing. What was your rose tonight?
Surviving. I mean, it's obviously the rose. I'm struggling with the trucks. Haven't quite got the feel for them this season, and I mean, our performance shows. But you know, we're giving it all we got. Trying different things. It's all, like I said at the beginning of the season, we're gonna try different things. They're not really working out, but hey. But the thorn of this race is I didn't get the practice I needed. I showed up kind of late and didn't get too much practice in. Kind of trying to figure it out during the race, but I'm happy with the top three. I can't complain.
Man, you did a good job. We're glad to see you maybe get back in that championship conversation. There's a lot of season left. There's a playoff that's going to be coming up. You get in the top 12, you're going to be reset, have a shot at that championship. So don't worry too hard, Justin Wilson. Before we let you go, celebrate that third place finish. You got any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to the guys. It was a good race. Aaron and Scotty for just dominating the field. Nobody could touch them. Teammates Randy, good recovery with his wreck that he had, finished fourth, and Jacob, Johnny, Chase, the group, and you guys for putting the show on and everybody watching, man.
Awesome, man. We appreciate you. Good job, Justin Wilson. Finished third place tonight. All right, so you heard from Justin Wilson. Now we're going to pull in Scotty Sobczak, second place finisher. Chris, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Scotty Sobczak, our second place finisher tonight. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got a copy.
Man, Justin Wilson brought it up in his interview. What a dominant performance out of both you and Aaron Smith tonight. It looked like Ellis and I were kind of remarking upon it on that first stint right there that you were really closing that gap on Aaron Smith. Did you think you had something for him tonight? Maybe at the end of that first stint.
Yeah, maybe. We're pretty fast, but that whole first stint we had pretty good speed, and I thought I was going to be able to stick with him, within a second and a half, 2 seconds or so, and just be within a shot to get to that first pit stop and hopefully kind of leapfrog him, which was what we tried to do. It didn't actually work out. I think I lost time on pit road somehow, but yeah, he was fast and Justin was fast, and finishing within 10 seconds or so. We'll chalk that up as a win for a road course, I suppose.
It was definitely a great performance for you guys tonight. Talk us through driving these trucks around here tonight. It looked like there's a couple of corners that were just a little bit troublesome. The turn 2 area right there, that downhill left-hander, looked like it was a little bit sketchy at times. Turn 5 as well. Did you have any close moments tonight?
Yeah, there's a couple close moments. It's so hard to pass, and not only that, but it's hard to pass even lap cars at a bigger speed differential. Even that's difficult here because it's pretty narrow. There's a couple times it got a little bit sketchy with the car sideways in front of me or whatever it might be, but after about 10 laps, the rear tires just feel like styrofoam, and I guess I'll have to go look at some tuition prices and find out what it costs to go to the Aaron Smith School of Running Road Courses good, because that's the only way we're gonna get to his speed, I guess. But no, congrats to him, and it was a pretty solid race all around.
You definitely
appreciate the Zoolander reference. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah. You definitely made him think about it tonight. You were definitely hanging around there and definitely kept him honest all night. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go celebrate the second place finish?
Yeah, baby Junebug upstairs. Of course, my wife Alex for watching. And anyone else at home that's watching on YouTube or Twitch, you guys for broadcasting, and thanks to Sam for doing the race control and stuff. And we'll see what a short course looks like next week, I guess.
We can't wait for it. That's Scotty Sobzak, our second place finisher tonight. Hey, bud, go celebrate this awesome run.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Sir. All right, Aaron Smith, driver the number 70, winner tonight. This is Ellis and Chris in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Hey, man, it feels like we just talked to you not too long ago, but all went according to plan in your book, and you ended up in victory lane tonight. That Hank Thomas performance, number 70, quite a masterful performance, man. I don't know what else we can say. After talking to you earlier in the race, you mentioned how you had to drive it like it was on eggshells. You mentioned the tires really falling off and kind of a weird feeling, but you managed to hang on to it. Did you have any more close encounters before the end of the race, or was it kind of like just setting sail, smooth sailing those final 15 laps or so?
Yeah, I think that might have been it. After the initial interview, I don't think I really dealt with anybody else. But yeah, it was pretty peaceful there in that second half. I'm glad it worked out that way and was able to bring home the win.
Man, you did good work. I feel like we beat the road course horse to death here a little bit, but I want to shift gears into next week because it is going to be a big change of mentality when we head over to the short course at Bristol. What changes between this week and next week, mentality wise, racing wise? What do you expect out of next week from yourself and your teammates as well as the rest of the league?
Well, I'll certainly have to be on guard a little more often. I mean, a 15-second lap, there's no telling how many lap cars you'll have to deal with by lap 10, but it'll be fun. I hope we can get some good green flag runs in next week. I've only ever done green flag pit stops there about once or twice, so if we can get to those, I think that'd be magnificent. But the mindset's just about the same, but hopefully the result is too.
Well, man, you did a wonderful job out there. Hey, I'm just curious, are you running any more big races or anything coming up? How fans might be able to check you out if you're not racing Slingshot Racing League? Give you a moment to plug yourself.
No, not really. I will be running the Bathurst 12-hour this coming weekend, but I don't think we'll be in a high enough split for there to be a broadcast. But if I do have anything else coming up, I'll certainly let y'all know.
Yeah, please do. Aaron Smith, driver the number 70, tonight's winner. We're going to be keeping everyone posted on social media about what this win does for the point standings, but I think it's going to definitely tighten things up at the front. Aaron, we're going to go ahead and let you go. You got any shout-outs before we let you go celebrate the win, though?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Hank Thomas Performance, Apex Energy, Sim Racing Concepts, Evan Pienta Designs, UD Awards, Pierce Graphics, and the Stage Break Podcast for supporting the league. I hope I didn't miss anybody there, but I'd also like to thank y'all for putting the league on. It's always a blast running with these guys. I'd like to thank the folks in the field for being courteous when I came around to lap them, and I'd like to thank all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it next week at Bristol.
Think he's better at plugging it than we are, Ellis.
I was about to say, he does a better job than we do, man. Aaron Smith, winner tonight and winner at life as well. Aaron, we appreciate you. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. It is an intense race tonight. We had plenty of thrills and plenty of spills here from nearby Toronto here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. We saw Turn 5 be a place of recoil for many drivers who were befallen by that double apex in what became known as Moss Corner in the 1960s. And looking through the session results tonight, Aaron Smith, Scotty Sobzak, Justin Wilson are your top three. Randy Bechdel, Chris, we thought we might have some championship implications with an early incident from Randy Bechdel, but he goes on to finish fourth. That truck ended up being just fine. Chris Pierce, running that mental health awareness scheme, finishes in fifth position. Jacob Bradley, we saw him be a victim of Turn 5, finished his sixth. And Chris, one little thing about the top five, we had three people come within one driver of winning the Hank Thomas Performance Fast 5 guessing game tonight. You know, you say, that excites me because we don't have to give away any of our money yet, but that just means that prize pool is going up to $35 next week. Check out our social media every Monday for that post where you can guess your Fast 5 predictions. Josh Ward, Chris, we saw him struggle, but ends up finishing seventh position, gains a couple of positions from where he was when we saw him have those issues with a couple of lap cars. So good perseverance on the part of the number 7. Also 8, Evan Pienta had his fair share of issues, brings it home in 8th. Nick Dicesare finishes 9th, Wesley Pistol 10th. Chris, any words about those top 10 before we hit up the 11th through 20th?
Man, just Josh Ward, you look right here and you see all the drivers, kind of, maintaining where they started. Josh Ward, though, up 4 positions. We saw a lot of action around these guys. I know it doesn't look like they moved around a lot, but saw these guys sort of like I think they were just sort of, passing each other and then getting passed by the same drivers all night. And in that about 7th to around 11th, I just felt like we saw those guys around each other quite a bit tonight. A lot of good racing in that area of the field.
There was definitely a lot of good racing throughout much of the field tonight, Chris. Looking at 11th through 20th, weirdly the standings went away
right
on my end. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah,
you go ahead and cover that.
Yeah, Johnny Rapp brings it home in the 11th position. A little bit of a tough night for Johnny, who typically gets around the road courses really well. So the same thing for Chase Berry. We saw that he and Wesley Pistol had a little bit of contact in that final corner. Coming down to the end of the race tonight, Chase is going to bring home a 12th place finish tonight. Matt Koontz bringing home a solid 13th place. Lee Campbell ran top 15 all night and brings it home 14th. Last truck on the lead lap. Daniel Rowe finished in 15th. Patrick Colby 16th. Sean Johnson brings home a 17th place finish. Jay Leach in 18th. We saw Scott Tompkins have a little bit of trouble in turn 5. He's going to recover, though, and still bring it home, finishing in the 19th position. And James Danforth rounds out your top 20 tonight here at Mosport.
Yeah, so that is 11th through 20th. Just looking at 21st through 28th, these were drivers who kind of struggled throughout the night with multiple issues. Raymond Hanneman, that Canadian driver, despite having some issues, brings it home to a respectable 21st. Tony Caputo persevered to 22nd. Paul Thomas as well, 23rd. Ryan Hinkle on that bright orange machine had a couple of issues. Finishes 24th. Larry Poling, 25th. Patrick O'Toole, Patrick Piper, as well as Brandon Waldrop out early in the race with some mechanical issues. 28 cars started the night. Pretty good number for a road course. Had a lot of drivers out there grid up and get that race going. And all 28 of those drivers are going to be eligible for a drawing for a Sim Racing Concepts button box here in just a few moments, Chris. But great race tonight. Looking forward to next week at Bristol under the lights. Going to be a lot more action ahead. Different type of action, though. Lots of beating banging next week. We're going to see Aaron Smith mention it. Lap cars galore. You will not have a break on that short little track. Drivers going to have their work cut out for them in race number 7. Just 4 races left before the regular season finale at Daytona. The action is heating up, and so is the points battle. Chris, just a very quick update for you right now. I can tell you the points. I've updated them, so give me a second, and I'll tell you if we've had any major shakeups. Randy Bechdel is still your leader. Scotty Sobczak is second place. Right now, 7 points separate the top 2. It's just 3 points back for Aaron Smith, who climbs his way into 3rd. Josh Ward, despite a good night, is back to 4th. Johnny Rapp is up to 5th. That is your top 5. And right now, Chris, only 32 points separate the top 5 drivers in the point standing. So
it's close.
It is close, and it's only going to get closer at Bristol, a wild card of sorts. Just 4 races left. Bristol next week. Chris, great job tonight. These drivers did a wonderful job. Last request, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up like button. Just liking gets this videos in front of more viewers. Catch us next week, next Tuesday, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time, Bristol Motor Speedway, Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. It's going to get crazy. Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the booth for Slingshot Racing and all the drivers tonight. So long. Farewell, everybody, from Toronto. We'll see you next week in Bristol, Tennessee.